So what I want to do is actually look up these adjectives using a lexicon. You may not like it, you may like it. But let's just try it and see, get a feel for it. We'll look up the first one, megos. M is mu, epsilon, gamma, alpha, sigma, just like a dictionary. You see the order. Look up megos. And what it will do is it will give you its meaning in the nominative case, singular, masculine, and then it's going to do the same thing in the nominative case, singular, feminine, and it's going to give you a nominative, singular, neuter, so that you could see the pattern it follows. Because because it's an adjective, it might want to agree with a word that's a masculine word, or it might want to agree with a word that's a feminine word, if fits the orange tree, or it might want to fit with a pine tree word, or a neuter word. So it has to be able to be inflected highly, change a lot to align with whatever word it's going to modify. Red truck, red book. Red has to go with either or.
Which was, did you stop after the first one?
No, keep going, find the rest of them. You're unknown now. Are we close? Close enough that we can go ahead and move on? What'd you get for pistos?
Faith.
Well, let's start. What'd you get for megos and megale and mega?
Large in size.
Large
Great.
or great is the general words. There are other words that could be used, but those are general speaking. What about pistos?
Faithful.
Wait, what did I hear? Is it faith or faithful?
Faithful.
Is there a difference?
Yes.
Faith is a noun. Did we have pistis before?
Yep.
With the what's the difference? Had an iota, right? But when I change it, it's now a adjective, and it's not a noun, so it's faithful.
Trustworthy,
Or trustworthy, exactly.
or true, or believing.
Okay, well, we can go forever. Aletheis.
True.
True or truth?
Worthy of credit.
Okay.
Truthful.
Truthful.
Or true, T-R-U-E.
Yeah, true works too. Truthful.
Unconcealed.
Unconcealed. It has the same meaning of being true, doesn't it? It's unconcealed. What about hagios? Now, how'd you pronounce that?
Hagios.
Why was it I got an H sound in front of it?
Rough breathing.
The little bitty, it's hard to see up here, that little bitty rough breathing makes it like ha. Hagios.
What did we look at it?
I'm sorry?
Above the alpha?
Well, the alpha, I have the rough breathing and the accent mark, and that rough breathing determines, because it's rough. Remember, I have a rough breathing, looks like a backwards comma above it. A smooth breathing looks like a comma above it. Now I got parentheses? No, I'm kidding. Smooth breathing does absolutely nothing to it, but a rough breathing changes how we pronounce it. It puts an H in front of it. Okay, so it's pronounced hagios. What does it mean?
Holy.
Holy?
Dedicated.
Dedicated?
Separate.
Separate, right? And did I hear another word?
Consecrated.
Consecrated. There's one other word that's used a lot.
Alice.
Saint. Or saint. Well, no, saint is the noun, not the adjective. So yeah, it's separated, whole, or holy, or... you sort of get the feel for how the word might get used, right? What about, this has got a rough breathing in front of it, so it's halos. What does that mean?
Whole, entire.
Whole, entire, complete. Okay, and the word that I messed the spelling up,
Didn't get
agapetos.
Didn't get that word.
Okay? Dear or
Worthy of love.
worthy of love, or that's another way to say worthy of love. Beloved. We see that word a lot. It's most often translated as beloved. Paul used it a lot. My dear beloved. My beloved brethren. What about this word? Anybody get this far?
Good.
How do you say it? Agathos. 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 If I put the accent, agathos. Right? What does it mean?
Good.
Good.
Profitable, generous.
Profitable. All mean same kind of thing, right? Profitable. And so forth. Okay, adjectives. Make sense? All right, notice turn to page 50 of your book. And look up agios real quick. Hagios. We said it means holy, separated, concentrated. With that, in page 50, you'll see a few other things. I don't have a book in front of me, so it makes it a little harder. Thank you.
Which word are we looking
Hagios. It should be on the left-hand side towards the top. In bold, alpha, gamma, iota, omicron, sigma. Hagios gives you the definition: separate from, common condition and use, dedicated. Luke 23, 2 verse 23 uses hallowed, uses things as ta, hagia, the sanctuary, ta being the noun or the article, I mean, and of persons. In other words, saints. Sometimes hagios is actually used as a noun. Remember we said adjectives can sometimes be used as a noun to take a place of a noun. So if I call you a hagios, you're what? A saint. But look below that. You see hagios written 2 more times. First time in bold. The bold is giving you the definition. But below that, we're going to see it says nom, sig, mask, nominative, singular, masculine. So it tells you there's the nominative, singular, masculine form. It's used 12 times. It's an adjective, and then there's a pattern that you can look up in the beginning of the book called 1A, paren 1. You can look that up. And it's, I'm going to call it Strong's number 41, but this book does not use Strong's at all. It uses instead, Strong's is sort of dated. You know how words continue to get modified? You get a new dictionary a few years because they've changed words and meanings and added the same thing. Strong's has not been updated for a while. This came out a couple of years ago, and I forget what they call these numbers now. The Goodrick, let me find it real quick. Cohenauer, no, not Cohenauer, that's not right. Goodrick Kohlenberger. So it's like Strong's, except it has its own category, and that's the number 4. Now, if you like Strong's, you want to use Strong's, keep using Strong's. If you go to the back of the book, it's got a appendix called Goodrick, GK, Goodrick Kohlenberger compared to Strong's, and it gives you in one column the Goodrick Kohlenberger's number and then the Strong's number, so you can look it up if you want to, if you got Strong's. So it's just a cross-reference back there. The other thing I want to point out in back on page 50, Hagios, Hi Han in the bold, and across from there you got this number 41. Well, that's that Goodrick Kohlenberger number. Okay, you can cross-reference to Strong's, and it says A-1A paren 1. A means adjective. -1A paren 1 is if you go to the front of the book, it's going to give you a bunch of. Let's see, we'll actually go to that page just so you can see. Let me find it, A1A. There we go. Go to page 10. And you see page 10, it has A1, and then A, it gives you the different patterns that are used for that word. It may have different words, but it's the same pattern. So it helps you actually see the whole pattern. This is why it's a lexicon versus a dictionary, because it gives you much more grammatical information that if you really want to go that far, you can look it up. Okay? That makes sense? All right. Okay, what does that say? I forget it. All right. Pronouns. Remember pronouns? You do? You'll like this, I hope.
Now I have a friend named Rufus Xavier Sarsaparilla, and I could say that Rufus found a kangaroo that followed Rufus home, and now that kangaroo belongs to Rufus Xavier Sarsaparilla. Phew, I could say that, but I don't have to, cause I got pronouns I can say. He found a kangaroo that followed him home, and now it is his. You see, he, him, and his are pronouns replacing the noun. Rufus Xavier Sarsaparilla, a very proper noun, and it is a pronoun replacing the noun kangaroo. How common. Now Rufus has a sister named Raffaella Gabriella Sarsaparilla. If she found a kangaroo, I'd say to you, she found a kangaroo that followed her home, and now it is hers. But I can't say that, cause she found an aardvark that fell in love with her, and they're so happy. And my name's Albert Andreas Samadilla, no relation to the sarsaparillas. Because of pronouns I can say, I wish she would find a rhinoceros for me, and we'd be happy. You see, a pronoun was made to take the place of a noun, cause saying all those nouns over and over can really wear you down. Now I can tell you Raffaella Gabriella and Rufus Xavier Sarsaparilla and Albert Andreas Armadillo found an aardvark, a kangaroo, and a rhinoceros. And now that aardvark and that kangaroo and that rhinoceros belong respectively to Raffaella Gabriella Sarsaparilla and Rufus Xavier Sarsaparilla and Albert Andreas Armadillo. Because of pronouns I can say in this way, we found them and they found us, and now they are ours and we're so happy. Thank you, pronouns. You see, a pronoun was made to take the place of a noun, cause saying all those nouns over and over can really wear you down. Sometimes when we take them all on the bus, people really raise a fuss. They start shouting out a lot of pronouns at us like, who brought that rhinoceros on this bus, and what made that horrible noise, and which one of them's getting off first? Who, what, and which are special pronouns that can ask a question in a sense where you do not know the name of the noun. But I know I have mine and she has hers, and he has his and you have yours. They love us and we love them. What's ours is theirs, that's how it is with friends. And pronouns, you are really friends, yeah. Cause saying all those nouns over and over can really wear you down.
Takes the place of a noun. Well, you guys are really good. Okay. In Greek, there, just like in English, there are a lot of pronouns, and they're different kinds. You saw some that were I, he, she, it, they. You saw some were who, which, what, why, those kind of things. Well, we got the same thing in Greek. The I, let me go ahead and do this. This is the I, this is the you, and this is the he, she, and it. Okay? Personal pronouns, same thing in English. There's no different, all right? Demonstrative pronouns, demonstrative is going to be this. All of these right now are this. T-H-I-S. All that's this. But it can also be in the plural, which is not shown here. What's plural for this? These, right? It's pointing back to a, instead of pointing out that way, it's pointing back this way. This, these. Relative pronoun. What's a relative pronoun? That which, he who. It's not a personal pronoun. It's that which, or he who, or she who, or those kind of things. Interrogative pronoun. It interrogates. What, why. How, or not how, but what, why. An indefinite pronoun. Remember we talked about the little accent marks, right? What's the difference between this word, tis, t, and this word, tis, t? Pronounced the exact same way. But the accent's there. And it's a different word because the accent doesn't exist. And it's an indefinite pronoun, and it means, what's indefinite? There's nothing. If it's indefinite, it's not definite. So if it's indefinite, it's anyone, someone, certain ones. Can't definitely say it's Chris, but I know it's someone. See the difference? Reflective pronouns. Well, reflective means I'm reflecting back on something. So it's himself, yourself, them, or their selves. An intensive pronoun. An intensive pronoun is going to be, we do the same thing in English. We want to intensify something. Christ says, I myself. And I forget the verse, but I myself. Well, he's going to have I, and then he's going to have this, looks like autos, aute, or ta, autos, aute, or ta. It's the exact same word. But it's not he, she, or it, because it's used, when you see it someday, you'll see it's used with another pronoun like I. And so, I myself. It's just intensifying it. Reciprocal pronoun. It's one of those words that doesn't have a nominative. Does that look familiar? It's only genitive. It's all exists. If it's a reciprocal pronoun, it's one another. John uses that a lot. 1 John, one another. Love one another. Allelong. So there's a lot of pronouns. We are not going through all the pronouns. We're going through personal pronouns. Because, why? They're used the most. So you can become familiar with those. There are a lot more pronouns that you can learn if you want to go through, but the one you see the most often are going to be the personal pronouns. So I just want to do a quick review over the personal pronouns. So this is I, you, he, she, it. And something is kind of interesting about that. Both English and Greek personal pronouns stand in or substitute for nouns, right? We saw that, we know that, takes the place. You know, I like the little bus with all the animals, you know, it's kind of cute. Both English and Greek pronouns are highly inflected. Same thing in English. He, she, it. That's a highly inflected, the form change. Greek personal pronouns can also be used to add emphasis, to make it emphatic. We talked about that briefly. And for example, somebody read in Luke 22, verse 70, what it says in English.
Then they all said, "Are you the Son of God?" So he said to them, "You rightly say that I am."
In Greek, we'll get not the rightly part, but you say that I am is these words right here. Humes is a personal pronoun. Let me tell you a trick. If it starts with an upsilon, what we would call a you in English, right? It means you. Second person. All right? Humes, and then because it's plural, we'll see that in a minute. Humes legete, that's a verb. You get verbs tomorrow. And really interesting thing about the verb is built inside the verb is this is third person plural. So this is you. Right inside that verb is you say. All that's right there. But I also have you right here. And I can, because, hatis, because, this is I. We've had ego before, right? Let go my ego, right? I. And this is a me. It's another verb you'll see later. But inside that verb is I am. What do you notice about the personal pronouns?
They're both stated twice.
They're both stated twice in the Greek. Do we see it twice in English? No, you don't. It doesn't translate in English well because it's put additional emphasis. He's contrasting. You say because I am. There's a great emphasis that he puts there. And the only way I know how to do it is sort of bold it and capitalize it or something like that. You say that I am. And there's a contrast if you read the verses before. Read the whole verse. What was the whole verse saying?
Then they all said, "Are you the Son of God?" So he said to them, "You rightly say that I am."
Okay, he's actually making a contrast, and I think it comes before that. But there's emphasis that's actually placed there. And that doesn't come across in the English. But in the Greek, you get a lot more color, a lot more depth to it, that he is really saying, you say. Who are you? You say it that I am. Or actually, it's this can mean because or that or since, but it's that I am, yeah. So I wanted to just point out that pronouns can actually do a lot of neat things in the Greek that doesn't translate in the English. There's really no way to translate it well. It's hard to translate. So you get a little more color, a little more depth in the Greek. Okay, so what we have in pronouns is we have a first person, a second person, and a third person. Who's the first person? I. Or me, right? Who's the second person? No, it's you.
Her, she,
No, it's you. Yeah, yeah.
he, she.
No. Second person is going to be almost always you. English really does a bad job with second person. What's second person plural? You, y'all. Yeah, that's a y'all, right?
Previous slide, didn't you say that you was third person?
No, I meant, if I did, I meant second. Yeah. Third person is he, she, it.
Okay.
Yeah. The third person is he, she, it. Or plural, they, right? That's how we do it in English. We do it the same way in Greek.
You guys.
Huh?
You guys.
You guys. Yeah. In Greek, ego means I. It's first person. Now, one thing about pronouns is there is no gender. It doesn't exist. You know, not in first or second person. Is you male or female?
Neither.
You don't know until you actually apply it in the context, right? It doesn't have a gender. Context will tell you if a gender is applicable or not, right? Same thing in English. What about I, or me, or they? Don't know, do you? You don't know if it's a gender involved, Chris?
Ego meaning I, is that where we get, talking about a person with an ego?
Yeah, that's a word we get ego. That's exactly right. Ego, there's a song, I almost played it, but it lasts a long time. It uses that, it's pretty interesting, it uses pronouns, but I didn't play it. Anyway, ego meaning I, and here's the thing about my, me, is that you see it starts with a mu? That's how I remember it. You know, if I see a mu, or a moi, or a meh is really easy. If I transliterate, if I transliterate, it means I take the Greek letter, and instead of writing it in Greek, I write it in English. I haven't really translated, but I transliterated it. That's what I meant to say. Transliterate it to mean to write it in English. So meh is me. It's the same thing. So it's kind of neat and helps me to remember it. So meh means me. Moi means to me. It's still me, but because it's in the dative with the oi, then I know it's not really me, but it's something to me. That makes it an indirect object. Mu means my. Make it in plural. It's a little different. You're not used to seeing it, but I remember seeing that a lot, and I see that iota a lot, and I see that alpha sigma a lot. It follows a similar pattern. It's not exactly the same, but there's some similarities. Hey mees, that's got the rough breathing. Hey mees means we. So now we're plural. First person's we know that. Hey mon, it's genitive, possessive. What's possessive in English for person? Are. Connie?
You've got the little line there. What's the words on the other side?
I'm going to get to that. Yeah, I'm going to get to that. Well, let's get to that now. Okay. One other thing Greek does is occasionally it will add in the singular, not the plural, for first person and second person, it will put an epsilon in front of it for the first person. So this is, instead of mu, emu. Instead of moi, it's emoi. Instead of me, it's emi. All it does is sometimes the Greek wants to put a little emphasis into, it's me. It's me. It's emphasis. It's not a lot of emphasis. I wouldn't get too theological with it, but there's some emphasis when it uses the word emu as it's mine. So it has a little more emphasis than my. Instead, it means more like my. And that's all it does. Second person, no gender again. I remember this because it has an upsilon, meaning it's you. So Sue is you. Get it? Sue you? Sue is you. Su, now this kind of pronounced the same. Su is your. It's in the genitive case with the omicron upsilon. Remember our little green here for matches up there? So it's possessive, meaning your. Soy in the dative case, so it's to you. Se is just you. What's the difference between you and you? Hard to tell, isn't it? English is not good. That's the one thing King James is really good at. Thee, thous, those kind of things. It really separates that well. Middle English did that. When we migrated away from Middle English, we got away from those things. And the only way to know the difference between you and you, whether singular or plural, is context. Am I talking to you? You or you? Well, context tells you that, doesn't it? Look at this. Here's a nice little pattern. I love this. Hey mace, who mace? What's the difference between we and you? The eta or the upsilon? Real easy to learn. You pick that up real quick. It's the exact same thing, except when I put an eta in front of it versus an upsilon, I'm saying instead of it becomes you instead of we. Hey moan, who moan? Well, eta, upsilon. Our versus your. Hey mean, to us, versus who mean, to you. There's a little pattern. Hey mas, us, versus who mas, you. First, second person. Not that hard. You're not going to memorize it, you're not going to learn it, but you can just see the pattern that follows. Third person does have gender. Why does the third person have gender?
He, she, or it.
He, she, or it. Right, I'm talking about him, talking about her, talking about it. It has a gender. And we know what's neat about this? Follows the same thing you already learned. Exact same endings, no different. Once you learn one, you learned them all. You just got to recognize that, oh, hautos, rough breathing, hautos is masculine for third person for he. Haute is she. Hauta is it. If I want to put it in possessive as his, it's how to. The rough breathing, omicron, upsilon, tau didn't change. But I changed the ending, just like we did in the noun, just like we did in the adjective. It's the same pattern over and over and over again. And it has to be. That's the only way we can recognize it. It's the only way that they can recognize it, even when it's spoken. So they can know what's being said. It's highly inflective, it changes a lot, but we know the change a constant, it's the same thing all the time. Okay? So. Okay, we're going to do this together very quickly. I'm not going to let you look it up. We're just going to talk about it, see if you remember some of these words, because I really want to get to the next section after this break. We've had most of these words. I think that's all. Okay, most of these words. Let's see if you remember what this word is. Megos. Great or large, right? It's an adjective. Pistos. Faithful is an adjective or noun?
Adjective.
Yeah, when you look it up, it's an adjective, right? Aletheis. Remember that one? You had that one? Aletheis. Truth. Truthful. Right? Hagios. Or as a noun, it's you're a hagios, saint. Right? Halos. Whole. Halos. I just remember it that way. It's whole. It's complete. It's entire. Okay, you need to know this one, although I forgot my eta here. Okay, agapetos, beloved, right? Beloved brethren. Agathos, you haven't had that one, I don't think. I don't remember if you had that one or not. It means good. You did have that one. Good. Yeah. Okay, I want you to know this one. Euangelon, gospel or good news. Preachers use that one a lot. Okay. What about this one? Charis. No, not faith, not Christ. Sounds like grace. It is grace. This one you had, and it gets used now and then. Phos. Let there be light. Let there be phos. Okay, let's take a break. Come back at 8 o'clock.